Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about some Magick books. I have 4 books here, and I have also made some videos about Magick books. I have 2 other videos about Magick books, and I'm going to create a playlist for the people who haven't seen the 2 other videos about Magick books that I have already made. So I've got 4 paperback books here, and before I start, the main thing I want to say to begin with is I have also got a playlist about esoteric path guidelines, and one of the main things that I make a point of saying in at least one of those videos is in regard to books on the esoteric path or about the esoteric path, which includes Magick for some people. Most of the books that I recommend are usually paperback books, and the reason why I do that is because most of my book collection is made up of paperback books, and that is because I want to make the point that to have an esoteric book collection does not mean that you have to buy expensive, limited edition, boutique, expensive books, hardcover publications. You don't need to do that. A lot of these books can be difficult to understand, especially to begin with on the path, and it doesn't really make sense to be purchasing books that will take you or may take you quite a while to understand, and yet you are paying quite a high price for these books that you are more likely to just leave on your bookshelf and not be as motivated to learn from. So I just wanted to make that point to begin with. Now, the first book is Druid Magick, the Druid Magick Handbook by John Michael Greer, and the subtitle is Ritual Magic Rooted in the Living Earth. And John Michael Greer is quite an expert on Druidry. He has been a member of the Order of Druids for quite a long time. This is a great book because it's not only providing a great background about Druidry itself and Druid magic in particular, it's also a practical book. But I think it's one of the best books about Druid magic around. I have noticed that other books on Druidry, or particularly Druid magic, are more complex in the way that there is an assumed level of knowledge, whereas this one is a more basic and practical book. It explains things a lot more, and it's well organized and laid out. And it's got a good recommendation here from Philip Carr-Gomm, who is also a well-respected Druid. And this really is, I think this is the best Druid magic book that you can get. It's published by Weiser, and I'm fairly sure this would still be in print because most of John Michael Greer's books are in print. So just to give you an idea of some of the content of the book, there's the alphabet of magic, the essentials of practice, the foundations of Druid magic is part 1. It explains the way of the life force. And in part 2, it's actually the practice of Druid magic, the gates of the elements, the grove of the Druids, The Secret of the Grail. And then part 3 is The Way of Druid Magick. And it's just a really good book. And John Michael Greer has written many books and on different aspects of magic, and he's also the author of the Druidry Handbook as well. But as far as Druid magic is concerned, I think this is the best book to get about that area of magic. So this is the Druid Magic Handbook. The next one is really a great grimoire. It's the complete book of spells, ceremonies and magic. This is by Migene Gonzalez Wippler. It's published by Llewellyn. I think this would still be in print. Otherwise you can get this second hand, probably on Amazon. This is quite an amazing grimoire, and it's compact. It's not too thick, but it's really detailed. It covers the history of magic, but it also is a grimoire because there's lots of practical how-tos in here. So this is a really great book. There's ceremonial magic in here as well as traditional witchcraft type of magic, and this has been in print for quite a long time, and the author is quite an expert on magic. I think I would be surprised if it's not still in print. Otherwise you can get this secondhand on Amazon, but it's really worth getting, especially if you'd like a compact grimoire that's not a heavy thick book. There's all kinds of things in here. Part 1 is theory, but it's a definition and history of magic, and it talks about all the different kinds of magic, and it has information on Kabbalah in here as well, and the astral plane. Part 2 is practice, all the practical things, and all the different rites of different kinds of magic from all over the world. This is why this really is a unique book. Part 3 is magical spells, and they are divided into 4 main categories, which is love, wealth and success, overcoming enemies, and health and protection. It really is quite a remarkable book. The complete book of spells, ceremonies and magic by Migene Gonzalez Wippler, published by Llewellyn, and it's worth getting even if you can get a second-hand copy. It's a great book. The next one is a newer type of book. This would be quite easy to get. This is the New Hermetics, 21st Century Magic for Illumination and Power, is the subtitle, by John Augustus Newcomb. There is a foreword by Lon Milo Duquette. The New Hermetics. This is mainly a book of Kabbalah magic, but it's a practical book too. It's written in a contemporary way, and it's a great book because it's one that has been overdue. It's one that I think a lot of people will find is practical if they want to work with Kabbalah magic. Some of the books about Kabbalah magic can be a little bit too detailed, and they could have a level of assumed knowledge. It's not too thick, but It covers a lot. It goes from the basics. I would say this is a basic to intermediate level, but at least it starts from basics, and I think it's really it's easier to understand than some other more detailed Kabbalah magic books. And this is titled The New Hermetics because we're talking about Hermetic Kabbalah here, not Jewish Kabbalah. And there's all kinds of things in here as well. There's lots and lots of, diagrams and pictures. There's all kinds of things in here. I don't endorse everything in this book. Some of this is it's like a combination of right hand path and left hand path magic. The left hand path Kabbalah magic has more to do with Crowley. So if you can take from this book what you want, what you would like. For me personally, I kind of work with a grey type of magic. I'm mainly right hand path. I would take a small amount from the left hand path. That's for me personally. So some of the ideas, only a small amount of the ideas here are left hand path, and I think a lot of people will be able to recognise which ones they are. But it's a really worthwhile practical book. It's a good primer. There's all kinds of tables in here. And it divides this. This is Golden Dawn based too. This is why it's Hermetic Kabbalah. The chapters are divided into the different levels that the Golden Dawn used in regards to Kabbalah and Kabbalah magic. So you have these different levels with the magic, and these are the different chapters. And there is some psychology in here too, a small amount of psychology reference, and by that I mean Jung, people like Jung. I don't mean mainstream psychology. I'm not talking about behavioural science, we're talking about alternative psychology. But it goes through all of the basis of Hermetic magic and Hermetic Kabbalah magic. So it talks about alchemy, gnosis, Kabbalah and Hermetic Kabbalah, because Hermetic Kabbalah is the Kabbalah of the Golden Dawn, which always includes tarot. It also talks about mystical states and altered states. And then it goes into the different levels of the chapters on the different levels of magic. And there are some extra tables and information in the back of the book as well. And there's a bibliography and suggested reading list, which is always helpful. So this is really quite a good and useful book, especially if you'd like a more contemporary approach. The New Hermetics, 21st Century Magic for Illumination and Power by Jason Augustus Newcomb. And the last book is also Kabbalah magic, Hermetic Kabbalah magic, and I think this author may surprise a few people, because this is Christopher Penczak. This is called The Temple of High Witchcraft. Now this is ceremonial magic, which is the Hermetic Kabbalah Magick. So this is the Temple of High Witchcraft, and the subtitle is Ceremonies, Spheres, the Spheres of Kabbalah, Ceremonies, Spheres and the Witches' Kabbalah by Christopher Penczak. It has the sign of air here. This was part of the Temple book series of Christopher Penczak. Very thick book. This is all about learning about Hermetic Kabbalah Magick. And Christopher Penczak has written this from the point of view of witchcraft, but it is basically about ceremonial magic based on Hermetic Kabbalah. It's an introduction to that. This is not only for witches, but Christopher Penczak wanted to introduce this as part of his Temple of Witchcraft course, which covered a lot of books. It covers quite a lot of books. So to give you an idea of what's in here, the Kabbalah, symbol and sigil magic, elemental constructs, the Kabbalistic cross, which is a form of magic that's used, it's ritual, the four worlds, path working. There are different rituals in here, and invoking and banishing rituals. And there is some in here about the Goetia as well. And just keep in mind that this is all traditional magic. This is ceremonial magic that goes all the way back to the time of John Dee in the Elizabethan times, which is around about the time of the Renaissance. But the bulk of this is from the Golden Dawn, because the Golden Dawn used Hermetic Kabbalah for two reasons. They used it for self-development, which is mysticism, and the second reason was magic. So there's all kinds of things in here, as I was mentioning. But I do like the way this is covered. I like the way, for example, what I would be doing, I would be definitely try to work from the start with this book. I wouldn't be going straight into anything. It's been set out in a orderly, purposeful way, and Christopher Penczak always gives his reasons for the format of his books, and he always explains things very well. This is a 550-page book. So this is a reference book as well as a very useful, informative and a grimoire type of book as well, as far as rituals are concerned. And it's designed so you can work your way through quite slowly and to understand what you are doing and why. So it works from the Tree of Life in the way that the Order of the Golden Dawn did, which was always starting from the bottom upwards, from Malkut all the way up to Keter. So you do need to follow the advice that's in the book, because as with a lot of things to do with magic, it's important to understand what you are doing and why, Temple of High Witchcraft by Christopher Penczak, and it is a worthwhile book for people who want something substantial as well as a reference book. So that's for people who really want to go into Hermetic Kabbalah magic in a big way. Otherwise, I think you really should be starting with this one, the New Hermetics. I would definitely be starting with this one. As far as Kabbalah, Hermetic Kabbalah magic is concerned, and here is just a great all-round grimoire, as I was saying. Spells, Ceremonies and Magic. And this is one of the best Druid magic books around. So I'll put all of the details below the video, and I will put the 2 other magic book videos on a playlist so that there will be these 3 videos for viewers to watch if they are interested. So I'll arrange that playlist very soon. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.